I don't know if you've noticed, but rap fans are getting tired of the same street antics, drama, rules, and even music, and it's starting to affect the culture. What's going on, y'all? It's willarmani. Hope everybody's feeling good today. If you are, please make sure to subscribe. I got more content coming on the way. Let's get into today's topic. Whether it's 6ix9ine non-stop chatting about why people don't like him, Young Thug non-stop hating on Gunna even though his career no longer has anything to do with him, Youngboy getting locked up again. I myself, at least, am getting really tired of this whole street rapper thing, and it's starting to really fatigue my senses. But let's define the problem. The street rapper fatigue is real, and I think that the culture, rap fans alike, are starting to feel this. We're seeing repetitive content in the music, over the top social media and street antics. Whether they are real or not, it's getting annoying. And I think a big factor here, a big problem, is that these street rappers are constantly pushing their rules of the streets and pushing it onto the mainstream, even though the mainstream not only doesn't know what's right and what's wrong, because a lot of the times people switch up half statement whether it applies to them or not, but pushing these rules onto the mainstream that have nothing to do with the music, and even if they're making good music, for them to justify so much or not. Fans are noticing that the drama is the same, the music isn't changing, and it's overshadowing the music. But why is this happening? Well, street rap used to be raw and experimental and exciting. It used to be different, and every time we've gotten a new wave of street rap, because it's always going to happen, whether that be Chicago, New York's drill scene, whether it's Atlanta, Gunna's and the Young Thugs, I mean, every single wave of street rap has brought us something that was refreshing to rap, but it always ends, to me, in this exact same decline where things start to sound the same. We're getting an extreme overload of these street antics, and we're getting pushed and shoved down our throats these rules that, although they might apply to the streets, street rappers need to start acknowledging that they do not apply to the mainstream audience. They cannot apply to the mainstream audience because they are just music listeners. That's it. I think a big problem that I'm having is we're being pushed rules. We're being pushed these things that apply to the streets. And what a lot of these rappers aren't acknowledging is that not everybody grew up the same way. Now, I do get that, or I shouldn't say I get, but I could try to understand growing up the way that a lot of these street rappers did. They had to follow certain rules to survive. So they put it in the music. They put it in how they carry themselves. I get that. But pushing your agenda onto your own fans, pushing your agenda onto the culture isn't the way to do things. It's not the way to get people to support you or follow you. And I'm not going to hate on anybody specifically, but I will mention people like Young Thug recently, where Thug hasn't released any music. He's been hating really heavily on Gunna, but at the exact same time, he's constantly pushing this thing of like, this guy's not street and this guy's not street because of this, this, and this. But now we're getting things in the news that are saying that Young Thug has gotta kind of look at himself and put his own words up to himself. But now we're getting news that Young Thug is actually going against some of his own words. So it's like these rules only apply to these people when they want them to apply. I also think a really big problem is that a lot of these street rap projects, they're always long. They're always really oversaturated with content. And I get that, you know, a lot of the times they're just making a lot of music. But when Youngboy is releasing a 30-song project, even Gunna, because I'm gonna still put Gunna in this category, when he's releasing 30-song projects, when all these street rappers are releasing these big, long projects at the exact same time because they're all butting heads at the same time as well, it's starting to develop this fatigue because we're getting a lot of the same. Not that it's bad music, but we're just getting a lot of the same, and too much of one thing is never good. At least that's what my mom has always told me. But I don't want to just say that everything is a problem, right? Because at the end of the day, there is a lane for these street artists. There is a lane for these rappers. So what can we do to make it less fatiguing? What can we do to make it better? Well, I think a big start is these street artists need to listen and understand we do not need you to push your agenda, your street rules, any of that onto rap. I think that if Gunna and Thug and Baby and all these different artists are gonna keep beefing, fine, but it doesn't need to be done on social media. There's a certain point where drama not only doesn't look good for yourself and your brand and your music, but it's just like nobody cares, you know? I'm getting really sick of every time I go onto my Instagram or my TikTok, I'm seeing new news about how Thug is hating on Gunna about this, or how 6ix9ine has an opinion on this, or how I'm just getting sick of it, you know, where it's like, I don't care. I just want to hear the music. And if your music isn't that great and the only thing that I hear about you is drama, I don't care about you at all at this point. I think that we need to pipe down on these rules and these agendas that are being pushed and just focus on the music. So with that said, if we're gonna start focusing more on the music needs to be better. Not to say that the music has been ass, but it's been very, very sameness. I've heard songs that literally sound like they could be the same song and they're not. These projects need to be shorter. These projects need to have more differentiation within them. And I want to hear these artists experiment with different producers, more sounds. I think that you can have the street beefs all you want. When it comes down to the music, I hate how we're having artists tell other producers, hey, don't work with this guy because he did this in the street, or he told, or he this. I think that should be separate, because at the end of the day, you shouldn't stop anybody or yourself from making money. If somebody is and this is just my opinion, I didn't grow up this way, but if somebody's talking in the streets and they're like, oh, like this guy ratted and he told, but this guy could make you a bag, in my opinion, you should separate all that beef, make your bag, and you don't have to be cool with each other. But if you know that you guys can make money together, I don't know. That's just my opinion. To me, personally, street rap isn't dead, but fans are getting tired. I'm getting tired. The question is, can the culture evolve before the fatigue kills the hype? Do you feel the same about this topic? Please let me know in the comments below how you feel. Let's have a discussion in the comments. If you're new here, please make sure to subscribe. I got more content coming on the way as per usual. And if you want to follow me and any of my own music, you could do that. Follow me on Instagram, willarmani with 2 eyes. It's been your boy willarmani. Please stay positive.